Imagine the nation's highest court at the crossroads of justice and public perception. A recent decision has sparked fierce debate about whether the scales of the Supreme Court are tipping toward corporate power at the expense of ordinary Americans. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's fiery dissent in Diamond Alternative Energy versus Environmental Protection Agency raises pressing questions about trust in the judiciary. In a landmark 7-2 ruling, the Supreme Court decided that fuel producers have Article 3 standing to challenge the Environmental Protection Agency's EPA approval of California's strict vehicle emissions regulations. The decision overturned a previous ruling by the D.C. Circuit, opening the door for fuel providers to contest what they view as overreach by the EPA. The majority opinion, penned by Justice Brett Kavanaugh and joined by 6 other justices, emphasized that the plaintiffs demonstrated sufficient injury to bring their case. But not everyone agreed with the outcome or its implications. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, joined by Justice Sonia Sotomayor, voiced strong opposition. Her dissent wasn't just about the legal merits of the case, but also about what the decision signals to the American public. The court is already viewed by many as being overly sympathetic to corporate interests, Jackson wrote. Today's decision feeds that perception, undermining the trust and credibility that the judiciary relies on to function effectively. Her concern? That the ruling stretches the limits of standing doctrine, allowing powerful interests to bring cases more easily, while everyday citizens face higher hurdles. Jackson's dissent highlighted the risk of judicial overreach, warning that inconsistent application of standing rules erodes public confidence in the impartiality of the judiciary. When courts adjust standing requirements to let certain litigants challenge the actions of the political branches, but preclude suits by others with similar injuries, standing doctrine cannot perform its constraining function, she cautioned. At the heart of the case is California's ambitious vehicle emissions policy. Under these regulations, automakers must reduce greenhouse gas emissions and produce a set percentage of electric vehicles. The EPA's approval of these standards has been a flashpoint, with fuel producers arguing that the rules exceed the EPA's authority under the Clean Air Act. The plaintiffs claim the EPA is focusing on global climate change, which they argue falls outside the scope of the statute designed to address local air quality. This case marks a pivotal moment in the court's interpretation of standing doctrine, a legal threshold determining who can bring a lawsuit. By siding with the fuel industry, the Supreme Court signaled a willingness to expand access to the courts for certain litigants, particularly those challenging government regulations. Justice Kavanaugh responded to Jackson's critique in the majority opinion. Justice Jackson separately argues that the court does not apply standing doctrine even-handedly. A review of standing cases over the last few years disproves that suggestion, he wrote. Supporters of the ruling, including business groups and conservative organizations, hailed it as a victory for accountability and restraint in government regulation. Kristen Wagoner of Alliance Defending Freedom described the decision as a significant win for plaintiffs seeking to hold the government accountable. Not everyone sees the ruling as balanced. Critics argue that it prioritizes corporate interests over environmental and public welfare concerns. Civil rights groups, environmental advocates, and some legal experts worry that expanding standing for powerful entities could create a chilling effect, discouraging government agencies from implementing robust regulations. Jonathan Adler, a law professor at Case Western Reserve University, disagreed with the perception of bias, stating, "It's not like the court has closed the door on environmental groups." Still, Justice Jackson's dissent has ignited fresh debates about the court's role in ensuring judicial neutrality, especially in cases with broad societal impacts. The majority, led by Justice Kavanaugh, saw the case as straightforward. The fuel producers faced a clear economic threat, enough for standing. Kavanaugh rejected claims of bias, insisting the court was simply following precedent. Supporters called it a win for accountability. Businesses must be able to challenge government overreach. For them, it wasn't about favoring corporations, but ensuring agencies don't exceed their power. Critics, however, saw a pattern. Recent decisions making it harder for government to protect the public. They argued that, while the legal language is neutral, the real-world effect is to weaken regulatory agencies. the debate exposed a deep divide over the court's role in a complex society. Is the court a neutral referee, or is it tipping the scales? The answer shapes not just this case, but the future of American law. The nation is left to decide what kind of justice system it wants. The Supreme Court's decision leaves us with a challenge at the heart of democracy. How do we ensure our highest court remains trusted and impartial? Justice Jackson's warning is a call to action. Public confidence is fragile and must be earned with every decision. Recent surveys show trust in the court is at historic lows, a warning sign for our democracy. When faith in the courts erodes, so does faith in the rule of law. Jackson's dissent asks us all to reflect. Are we living up to our ideals? This isn't a moment for despair, but for resolve. We must demand a judiciary that is fair, consistent, and transparent. The courthouse doors should be open equally to all, regardless of power or wealth. The Supreme Court's legacy is written in the lives of the people it serves. Let's take inspiration from bold voices and recommit to a justice system that serves everyone. Restoring faith in our institutions requires active, engaged citizenship. The path forward is hard, but essential, for the future of our country depends on it. With the court poised to deliver more significant opinions before the term ends, the Diamond Alternative Energy ruling sets a critical tone for debates around standing, regulatory authority, and the public's view of the judiciary. The balance between corporate power and public interest remains a central question, and the outcomes of these cases will shape the legal landscape for years to come. This case highlights the intricate balance between legal doctrine and public trust. If you found this discussion insightful, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe for more updates on the nation's most pressing legal stories. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more content that keeps you informed and engaged.